Hello, these are my predictions based on what's happening in the sky in 2024. I am Tammy Antoinette. I am a sidereal astrologer. I practice astrology as it was practiced by our ancestors, by the most pure astrology when it first began in ancient Babylon, Sumer, Akkad, Mesopotamia, ancient Egypt, ancient Greece. So from all the lands of our ancestors where we came from. And 2024 is going to be a year of transformation. We will be tested this year. And we start off with, so it's a year of a new wave of spiritual awakening and new cycles that begin now to last over quite a few years. It's a highly activated year with many changes. If we do not make constructive changes within ourselves to affect the outer world and humanity, the enduring of suffering will cause destructive change. So the outer world that we see and experience is always a reflection of our inner world. This is universal law. So this is not a year to sit back and endure the suffering that you've already been going to. This is going through. So it's a year to change that, to change anything that you've been enduring over the long haul. We've had a lot of a lot that's contributing to disconnection amongst ourselves, between each other. There's a lot that's contributing to overstimulation that you may have felt powerless to change. But full empowerment to make changes is available this year if you simply make the decision to do so. So it's the year to make constructive changes, or it's the year to witness destruction in our lives or in our environment, in the world around us. So it's a year to make choices, make decisions, and take action. What we are seeing in our world events, in the wars that we're seeing, in the politicians that are elected, and in the division that we see amongst ourselves, we experience, and in our outer world, is a reflection of the split that has been going on within each of us individually. It's a manifestation of us not being connected in with our heart and with our truth. So this is a year that humanity is under a lot of pressure. It's not going to be as bad as 2021. It's going to be much better, actually, because we have a lot of assistance. It's actually going to be a beautiful year whenever we do take action and make the changes. So we're under a lot of pressure, feeling stuck in this long pattern of suffering, of these loops that have kept us stuck for too long in a rat race of endless loops and patterns that are old, outworn, outdated. And this year, there's a strong desire. We're going to feel the desire within ourselves for destruction of that, due to the lack of desire to maintain a system that does not support you any longer. So the dominant theme for 2024 is a desire for change, for destruction, for transformation on all levels. The old model of society just isn't working anymore. So thankfully, we have new cycles of awakening, and we'll be able to see and have many more choices. We have a lot of high creative energy and innovation available on multiple levels. We are fully supported in making good changes. So we start right in the beginning, the first week of January, with a new age of enlightenment and innovation. Neptune has finally entered its home of Pisces at the same time that Jupiter is turning direct in Aries, with Uranus. And this is all during the first week of January. This begins a new 14-year cycle of positive developments for most of us. And this depends on where Pisces was at your birth, as far as what area of life it's going to affect for you, and any planets you have communicating with Pisces. So we begin a new golden age of high-level art, of high-level spirituality, of more compassion will be available to us, more unconditional love, new social uprising from challenges that the pure and the helpless were suffering from, and assistance for the poor and for the weak, more assistance for them. And we will experience new social reforms, and a lot of suffering will be alleviated as more people are tuning into the higher vibration of the heart. And we can recall the last time that Neptune was in Pisces. This was between 1859 to 1871. So it's going to feel similar to that, which influenced the American Civil Wars against slavery. High artists such as Monet showed up, and the beginning of what the historians named the Age of Enlightenment and Innovation. So also this year, we have the peak of solar cycle 25. So the peak in the solar cycle is here a whole year earlier than was expected. We will experience more geomagnetic storms, bringing bigger seismic and volcanic activity and more revolutionary and fertile times. So solar cycle 25 was predicted to peak in 2025. However, we've been unexpectedly already experiencing this heightened solar activity, solar flares, sunspots, to peak instead in early 2024. We can expect to experience this as early as late January and February, all the way through September and October. And the intense solar flares have always brought revolutionary uprising and increased fertility on the planet, fertility in all of nature. The humans, the animals, the plants, so that more benevolent souls are being born on the planet to contribute to the evolution of our planet. And this will cause the events on the earth to intensify. We will feel more restlessness towards change, more social unrest, changes in the social system, revolutionary energies. The prices of gold will rise during this time. And be more careful during this time of heightened solar activity. Take extra care of your body. We want to also be aware of scandals. We'll see more scandalous activity. Beware of being swindled. Do your spiritual work daily. Keep your body extra hydrated, drink pure water and clean electrolytes, take extra care of your blood to keep it purified and diluted. Your sleep may be disrupted, so some biohacking may be necessary to, just do more things, add more healthy activities, and even plants to help contribute to better sleep and to more diluted blood if you're suffering from any of that. So the polarities of the dragon have shifted, and I spoke into this in the fall. But we have and that was when the eclipses, this is the energy of the eclipses. We've got 5 eclipses this year. It started last year, but this year, this solar year, from January to December, we've got 5 eclipses bringing really big changes. The last time we had more than 4 eclipses was in 2020 when we had 6 eclipses. So it's not going to be that intense as when we had the 6 eclipses in 2020. But as I predicted back in October, the lunar nodes are now on the Pisces and Virgo axis to continue until May of 2025. So the eclipses always bring fated events, which are mostly felt through the paths where they're visible. And we will see so look on the map on where the eclipses are visible. You can look in your Star Walk app, or you can go to the astronomical websites to see this. And this is just a broad overview of what's happening this year, but I will get more detailed month by month as time goes on. So be sure you subscribe if you have not already, so that you can get notifications, and also go to thestarqueen.com /blog and subscribe to my newsletter, and you'll be the first to know of what changes to expect. And whenever we know what's coming, then we can be prepared, and we can make proper changes within ourselves to change the direction, to change the trajectory, to make sure we have like extra good prayers to put us under grace, under the grace of heaven, rather than under lower level karmic law. Okay, so be sure you subscribe. And with the dragon's head in Pisces, we are seeing more refugees coming over, more collective karma manifesting, and more poverty. So these nodes shift to these points every 18.5 years. It's a normal cycle, and it's just so that we can have these fated events are here for our learning. And we experience a new wave also with the North Node in Pisces of spiritual awakening because of the malefic events that are occurring due to a lack of peace. And we can see more direct attack on Christian values, since Pisces is Christianity. The eclipses are the dragon's portal for fated change. The North Node is the dragon's head, which is in Pisces, and the South Node is the dragon's tail, which is in Virgo. So I did speak into this back in the fall, so you can see my videos and my writings on this topic, and I went really extensively into this, and I'll continue speaking into this more throughout the year as the eclipses come closer. But we will, because of this this energy, we are going to see more prevalently who is good and who is not, who is human and who is not. The drive towards spirituality is increased. And because of all of the Neptune and Pisces and Jupiter energies, there is a huge calling this year to focus on our oceans. Any actions and protections for the oceans right now are going to be very important and very powerful this year. And if you feel a calling towards the oceans, you should definitely answer it fast. Go to the oceans, pray over your water, pray over the oceans, and do your research. There was a scientist, Dr. Masaru Emoto, who did a whole experiment with water consciousness, and he showed exactly what came about just by seeing with our physical eye the beauty or the destruction that came about whenever we spoke certain words and intentions over our water. And remember that we're each mostly made up of water. Our planet is mostly made up of water. So this is a huge calling to speak really good affirmations over one another. Speak really good affirmations over your children. The South Node is in Virgo. And we saw whenever the South Node went into Virgo, there was an attack on our children. I mean, there have been many attacks on our children, but it was in our face, right? So we're still forming and shaping the human when they're a child. They're so receptive, like this water, right? And each of us are, but speak really good affirmations over your children and over your water and over your food. Be sure you have good prayers. So that's the news about the shift of the dragon's head and the dragon's tail. Mars will become visible. Where I am in Texas, I expect to see Mars appearing out from the rays of the sun as a morning star around January 30th. And I will be back to report more on this whenever I actually do see him rise in the sky. But at higher altitudes than Texas, he can be seen as late as May, which will have different effects based on where you are in the world. But Mars has been invisible since summer of 2023. So we have been seeing more of the shadow side of masculinity, and more either even deceptive and underhanded attacks. And I did speak about this last summer whenever Mars went invisible, and you can look back on that if you would like, and I will report more on this. But since we are in an epoch of Mars, so we left an epoch of Venus, 180-year epoch of Venus, which brought us peace and beauty and abundance. And we entered an epoch of Mars at the end of 2019. So this makes Mars really strong right now during this time, this 180-year period that started at the end of 2019. The Mars energy has been really strong. So whenever Mars shows up again, he's going to be in his full power. And we can expect him to be in full power as he appears in the final degrees of Sagittarius. He's going to appear with Mercury and Venus in a trine aspect to Jupiter over in Aries, and with a square aspect to the moon and the dragon, the nodal axis. So because of this, we're going to see more foreigners showing up in full force, but there will be a softening of the effects of this, with Venus and Jupiter watching. We are getting a lot of help, so there will be more peace around this topic, and there can be some deception around this topic and conflict between the foreigners and those who are rightful owners of the land, those who have already been in the homelands where they're arriving to. So just be mindful of that. And the Babylonian New Year begins April 9th, when we see the first lunar crescent appear after the spring equinox in the northern hemisphere. So this part, the Babylonian New Year, is really only for the northern hemisphere, because it's based on the spring equinox point, the sun being at our spring equinox. And this will mark the first of Nisan, the ancient Babylonian New Year, when we, after the spring equinox, see that first lunar crescent appear. And the beginning of every new cycle shows what the whole cycle is going to look like. And we see the moon appear at 14 degrees Aries in a sextile to Mars, conjunct Saturn in Aquarius, so which rules the Aries moon. So this is a new year-long cycle that really strengthens the martial energy even more so. So we'll have Mars appearing, and then he's strengthened by this Babylonian New Year when we see the first lunar crescent. This is a year of, it's a year of conflict. Whenever there's big changes, there's going to be conflict between the old and the new ways. And we can experience more destructive energy if we are not using our creative energy to make constructive changes. So we do have a choice. Mars rules our willpower. So we have to use our will and our creative energy to make constructive changes in our lives. And then this negates the destructive energy. So this is prevalent all year long. We always have a choice how to use these energies. So, and we saw the Devil's Comet is what they're calling this comet. We have two comets this year, but it's the Pons-Brooks Comet, and it is similar to Halley's Comet in size and in its orbital pattern. It has a 71-year orbit, and we'll be able to see with the naked eye. It's going to be, it can be quite a magnificent spectacle in the sky. We actually saw this comet just days before the Gaza crisis, as it spontaneously flashed the appearance of horns, because it is a volcanic comet. It has a cold volcanic activity, and it wasn't supposed to be seen with the naked eye, but it had this volcanic activity right when in the sky. It was shooting from the dragon's head, from the constellation of Draco. It appeared to be shooting on the crown of Draco, and then that's when it was flashing. It was flashing volcanoes, and it looked like, they called it the Devil's Comet because it looked like it had horns. And then towards Hercules, and the story of Hercules goes that he was a demigod. He was the son of Zeus, and his mother was a queen, was immortal, but Zeus was married to Hera. So Hera, Zeus's wife, she was very angry about Zeus's extramarital affairs. So she came down and influenced Hercules to, literally, the story goes, he went mad and confused, and she cursed him so that he would identify his wife and children as enemies, so that he killed his wife and children. So it brought upon death of the innocent, literally from the dragon. It was where it came from. And the story goes he had to go and make up for his karma, pay retributions by taking on these missions, and a lot of strife for the rest of his life after that. And one of his tasks was to slay the dragon. But then later on, he remarried, and his wife was tricked into poisoning him with the dragon's blood, and he died slowly. As the demigod, they die more slowly. So anyway, that's how the story goes, and that's what we saw it play out on Earth last summer, sadly. And yeah, so whenever this comet appeared in the past, there has been a war involving the USA. The last time we saw this comet was in 1954, which began the Vietnam War. The first time we saw this comet was in 1812, and it brought war between the USA, UK, and Canada. So it could also bring a conflict in Asia involving the USA. And so we do want to have good prayers so that hopefully this doesn't happen, and we can influence our outer world by changing our inner world. And and it won't be like it won't be World War III, but it can be a big conflict between Central Eastern Asia that involves the USA. So comets always do portend some disaster or a war, and it will affect everything, including the world of finances. And remember, it's not going to be a world war, but yeah, so Venus goes invisible in April, and she will come out from her invisibility period in June in Texas, and July north, if you're closer to the North Pole than Texas. So Venus invisible she's a Reshkigal. She is the Gorgona Medusa in different phases during her invisibility. And it's not a good timing for new partnerships. It's not a good time for new partnership agreements, such as business agreements. It's not a good time to begin a marriage. So if you have a wedding planned during between April and July, I would move it if I were you. And in Eastern Europe, for example, no one conducts a wedding while Venus is invisible. In the USA, we do, but now you know, so now you're aware. So yeah, you can have a good start to a marriage rather than an invisible Venus. We want Venus. Venus is the goddess of love. If we can't see her in the sky, then we need Venus for good partnerships, for forming new relationships and new agreements if we want them to be harmonious and beautiful. Okay, so we will see Aphrodite in the sky. Venus birthed into her evening phase around June 28th in Texas at 20 degrees Gemini with the fixed star Sirius. So this will be benevolent for our finances. So she will be helping us with this. Sirius is another spiritual star. It's a strong spiritual star of good leadership, good spiritual leadership, and of the rightful king. Even the ancients say that really high level benevolent leaders, spiritual leaders like Jesus came from Sirius. So it's a beautiful, beautiful energy to begin. So Venus does influence our world of finances. So this is a helpful energy, and we'll see more peace whenever Venus is born in the sky again, and more harmony. And Saturn goes invisible February 8th, and then he'll show up again April 12th. And when Saturn goes invisible every year, Venus goes invisible about once every 9 months. And so February till April, and he will we'll see, we can see things disappear, like we can see some problems disappear whenever Saturn disappears. But also during the disappearance of Saturn, we want to take care of our elderly relatives and check on our elderly neighbors more, because they could have more problems during this time. So be sure your morals are high, you have good integrity, and you're responsible during this time, and you don't have to suffer. So April 12th, Saturn will be birthed again into a new phase at 21 degrees Aquarius, which is a sacred degree where the information, knowledge, abundance, this is the source of life. This is where Aquarius is pouring the sacred holy waters of knowledge onto humanity. These are hermetic degrees. There are only 7 sacred degrees in the whole 360-degree zodiac. So this is beautiful, beautiful time where we'll experience more useful knowledge for humanity, more quality knowledge, bringing good news for this year when Aquarius is strong and we are standing at the gate of the age of Aquarius, okay? So Jupiter will be conjunct Uranus April 18th. At 27 degrees Aries. So the last 2 weeks of April are a very benevolent time for modern ways of financial investments, for higher philosophy, higher learning, innovative, pioneering energy. So as the ancients told the story that god Anu is Uranus. He is the grandfather energy who engineered the human race. Jupiter is Marduk, his grandson. So they're friends, they're meeting together in the sky, they're family, they have a good relationship. So this will bring good energy the last 2 weeks of April. More high-tech ways, new programs, innovations, strategies of military and police force that may we can see the contradictory nature of police and military as they will start to use AI to predict and prevent crime rather than using more forced physical control tactics. So, there's good and bad sides to that. Whenever Uranus involved, it can bring shocking events at first, and then Uranus takes a long time. It's a very slow-moving planet through the sky, and it dictates. It works on the level, since we can't see it with our naked eye. The planets that we cannot see with our naked eye work more on a subconscious level and on the collective consciousness. So it can bring shocking and weird and chaotic changes at first, but over time, these changes start evolving into something more for higher reasons. For more spiritual reasons. We'll see more medical breakthroughs that are based on the human genome. So advancements of using frequency medicine. So we have been using frequency medicine for a little while. Some doctors have been using it for the past few years, but it'll become more prevalent. And this is good because we need something to balance out the negative that's been happening as far as the frequencies on the planet with like the 5G and the Wi-Fi and all the interference of the energies on the planet. So Jupiter goes invisible May through June, and May 4th, I should see Jupiter disappearing here at 1 degree Taurus, which is our financial system. So we'll have a disappearance of something benevolent in the financial systems, and natural foods. The financial system may suffer, but it's due to our naivety, and it's only for Jupiter will only be invisible for about a month, and then he'll come visible again. And whenever the planets are invisible, they go into meeting with the sun, which is the king of our solar system. Okay. So, and they plan out the new cycle of what's to come whenever they become invisible on the sky. So we will see that he conjuncts the sun May 18th at 4 degrees Taurus, which is in the Pleiades. So that's where they will meet, in the Pleiades, and they will have a new meeting to decide what is to come for humanity as far as we'll see what new placements, new magical things will be prevalent. The Pleiades is the 7 sisters, the 7 witches. It can go good or bad, but with Jupiter there, I don't think it's going to be a bad thing. It depends on what's happening in Taurus in your chart, or specifically. So we will have changes to the financial system. So changes to our food. So they'll be congregating for that purpose. And Jupiter will be a morning star in June. I should see him at June 4th at 8 degrees Taurus, in a harmonious communication with Pluto in Capricorn, to create a better environment for financial transformation. So this will empower us for good transformational changes to permanently empower your finances. So really use this energy. You're fully supported in making the necessary changes required on an inner level so that you affect your environment on an outer level as far as your food and your finances, these worldly creature comforts, so the things that we require to be nourished on planet Earth. Transformation always happens on an inner level before it can manifest in your outer environment. So transforming limiting beliefs around finances is fully supported in a harmonious way at this time. Change is necessary due to the conflicting square aspect from Saturn. So there will be, whenever Jupiter enters Taurus, he will be squaring Saturn, which is, it's a communication of conflict that creates change. But the power for constructive changes to rise above any perceived limitation is available. Inner transformation is fully supported. And so remember the universal law: as it is within, so it is without, in your environment and your relationships. Once you heal what's going on inside, then your outer environment will be healed and up-leveled. So are you going to make innovative changes so that you can keep up with the inflation that's coming, that the square with Saturn and Jupiter will bring? It is going to bring inflation. So are you going to make innovative changes so that you can keep up with this and empower yourself, give yourself more power to rise above and transform in the financial system? Or are you going to be a victim of any outdated or outworn limiting beliefs and perceptions, or patterns like fear or worry around money, around not having enough, that can hold you back at this time? So those can be more prevalent. And those limiting beliefs can be seemingly put upon you from society or from others. But with Jupiter in the mix, with Pluto in the mix, you're fully empowered when you empower your faith and your gratitude for all the abundance that you already have. So what you focus on grows, certainly. So in June 18th, Uranus enters Taurus to join Jupiter there for a new 7 years cycle. So there has been some area of your life where Uranus was for the past 7 years, which he completely changed and gave this up level to. He completely evolved this level of this area of your life. This is different for everyone, and depending on what other stars or planets Uranus has been speaking to. And now we start a new 7 year cycle to transform an entirely new section of life for everyone. And when he enters Taurus, it'll be for the collective around the area of life of food, art, beauty, money. And in the beginning, it can feel shocking and chaotic at first, and something we may not like. There can be drastic changes to the financial system, and there can be a strong conflict or battle between the old traditional conservative system and the new ways that are incoming. But over the 7 year period, it'll keep changing. It'll keep changing. At first, we're not going to like it. It's going to be weird, but it'll keep changing into something different. And it'll get better over. You'll look back 7 years from now, and yeah, it'll feel more integrated, and you'll feel better. And you would have made changes in your life to reflect what's going on if there's something that you didn't like, right? So we can either adapt to what's going on in society, or we can, when it's Uranus is involved and when we've got this strong Aquarius energy, we're going to see more people splitting up into their communities, into more, a lot of people we'll see more people either being taken care of by the government, or more people coming together in deeper community to form their new ways of life. So we'll see this way of being transformed in community. We will see also this year a revolution in 3D printing. So probably 3D 3D printing clothes and new unique boutiques coming up that are not on the internet, that are all about building relationships and building their brand, and that's what they'll be selling. So factory farming will take a big hit whenever Jupiter and Uranus move into Aquarius, which is wonderful. We're going to look back on this time and we're going to see how barbaric and awful it was as far as the barbaric cruelty of farm animals. It's awful right now. So we're going to see changes as animal welfare gets an up level and becomes more prevalent. So this will be good for our food, and also we're going to see more weird things with food that we may not like. Also, that of course you don't have to participate in. So we can see more landslides this year because of this Uranus energy in Taurus. So we want to take care of our land, take care of our water. We can notice that or maybe we don't notice, but this will happen. It'll become more prevalent that the energetic pollution is causing a bigger destabilization on Earth. So to help negate this, there are devices that you can put in your home to influence the energy. So we see new revolutionary devices of frequencies, and using this to counter the energetic pollution. And also, well, this has already been here, but we'll see this more prevalently. And also to negate this, we want to work on, since we've got this high spiritual influence anyway, expanding the toroidal field of the heart is a good remedy. So staying grounded in your own frequency of living from the heart energy, it can really help empower you, so that the energetic pollution doesn't cause toxicity. So this is a year of being spiritually tested, remember. So, but everything that we need is available for us to reach the upper levels at this time. We have this new wave of spirituality come in, and it is it's in living in the higher octaves of the heart. And in August, we have Saturn retrograde in Aquarius. It's squaring Jupiter, conjunct Mars and Taurus. We have a full moon there. So August can be a really powerful month, with the acronical rising of Saturn being really powerful, and then the cosmic setting of Saturn also being powerful. So in the beginning of August, we'll see a more powerfully benevolent energy, and a high integrity and morality is more available. And this is what can get you through August and pass these spiritual tests. And so that in late August, you are fully empowered to face the challenges that Saturn will bring, and because the markets go down. So Jupiter square Saturn, August 19th through December 4th, the markets will be down. So just take note of that and plan accordingly. And every change of the social system does happen through conflict. We're experiencing a lot of changes in our social system, and spiritual awakening is necessary. It's fully supported during this time to help to prevent humanity from falling under more control and manipulation, and being victim to the old lower level governing agendas that have been prevalent on our planet since the beginning of humanity. So this is a time, but this is a time we're fully supported in reaching the upper levels at this time, so that we can request to be put under the grace of heaven rather under lower level karmic law. So remember, these lower level orbiting planets, they're just that. It's here for our learning. What's happening inside our solar system. It's here for our learning. But remember, the fixed stars have more power, and the fixed star Sirius is really strong this year. We have a strengthening energy there of high level spiritual leadership within ourselves and around us. And even beyond that, what governs that is the infinite source of creation, love, and intelligence that is what we call God. And so our prayers, we have to really believe in our prayers and have faith in our good prayers, okay? And in our innocence as an innocent human that we are. So so June through December, Uranus sextiles Neptune. So this is more beneficial energy for beautiful spiritual energy for humanity. Uranus will trine Pluto, square Saturn, bringing big transformative energy. And we have 2 comets this year. We have another comet, Shuchi-san Atlas, that it was detected in 2023. We don't have a record of seeing this comet before, but it was detected last year, and it will reach its brightest October 12th in the constellation of Virgo, to contribute to the South Node energy. In Virgo, remember, the eclipses that happened in Virgo, that are happening all year. So the eclipses bring a malefic energy to the fruits of Virgo. So this is the fruits of Virgo are the wheat. She holds the wheat. She holds the grains, and the fruits of Virgo, she's the woman in the child, she's the mother energy. She's the depiction of Isis, the depiction of Mother Mary. So the fruits of Virgo are her children. So we want to take extra care of our children all year long, and especially at these times. Take extra care of really nurturing, be mindful to nurture your children and create more harmony for them. They're new to planet Earth. They need, they're being formed, and they need to be uplifted, right? So, and this is how we can teach them to value themselves, teach them that they are valuable, that they are worthy. They're worth all the love and support all the time and the effort in the world, right? But also they have value, and they are here to contribute, and it's very empowering for them to contribute and to do their part even at a young age. And we do need to thank them and even apologize when we're wrong, right? So we're not perfect, especially, at this time. So comets always have portended some war or conflict and destructive influence. So this comet, Comet Atlas in October, is expected to become as bright as the most luminous stars in the sky. So it's going to be very powerful. So just be mindful of that. And as we get closer to that, I'll speak more into that. So we have more solar activity. We have the 5 eclipses. We've got influence of the big outer planets changing course that are affecting us on a subconscious level, and the collective consciousness. They're speaking with each other very powerfully, which they haven't done in these ways in many years. But we have Saturn appearing in the sacred degrees of Aquarius to bless us with knowledge. We've got Venus appearing with Sirius to bless us with more benevolence. And we've got a big emphasis on Aquarius, Pisces, and Aries. So this whole section of the sky this year. So Aquarius is the spirituality awakening and the higher level community. So get out and find your higher level community, because they're there, and it's really good energy to find them, no matter where you are. Pisces, our collective karma is highlighted. Aries, we've got the pioneering energy, but also the conflicting energy and strong military influence. And so remain very strong. Don't give up to any fears or worries. Don't violate any morals. We're being tested this year. So the question is, are you going to fall into the trap of fears, worries, and anxiety? Or are you going to trust with strong faith in your prayers? So this is how we change our reality. And only one person who has strong prayers and faith can change the collective karma. This has been tested and tried and true over many, since ancient times. All spiritual teachers, all religions have this same message for us. And we've experienced this ourselves too. So our faith, our spirituality, our morals, our trust in divine timing, divine guidance is all being tested this year. And humanity is going to elect also to support a leader during election time, as always, who promises to make big changes, especially this year, because this is the energy of change. We want big changes. So they're going to be electing the leader who promises to make big changes. But this reflects the big shadow of the endurism, the flip side of escapism. So this endurism response is due to your perception of powerlessness. So you give power to this guy on the TV who's making all these big promises of big changes, right? But you're really not this powerless. So instead, follow the path of least resistance this year. Make the decisions to prioritize according to your values and your joy, rather than remaining frozen in anything that you've been enduring that has caused suffering in your life. This is a year for discernment and decisions, very important decisions, rather than passively waiting for something to happen on its own to change. So if our heart is in conflict, the wars happen in the outer world too. We're going to see more conflict in our environment or on the TV. Being caught up in too much destruction and suffering always causes war. The inner reflects the outer, as within, so without. It's universal law. And it begins within ourselves. What thoughts we focus on will always grow. So we must deeply know our values, become as aware as possible of all possible outcomes of each possible decision, make very discerning decisions based on what life will look like even after you die. So when you're making these decisions, a year of big decisions, what type of legacy are you leaving behind after your death for future generations? Even if you don't have any children, what mark have you made on the world? And this can just be in your local community, in your neighborhood, amongst your friends, or through your work, through your family, with your even healing any matters in your ancestry, or it can be on any level. On seemingly insignificant levels are going to be very significant. The microcosm reflects the macrocosm. So whenever we're making these decisions, we want to sit and think, after we make this decision, what's life going to look like? How is it going to affect the world? What type of legacy are you leaving behind? This is how to know your deepest values. And this is how to know what the best decision is. And then you take action based on these decisions. So it's very important during this year to remind each other not to lose sight of goodness. Remind one another of the magic of life on Earth. So do your part to restore faith in humanity. So this could be just smiling at someone when you go out of your house, or giving someone a compliment, or asking someone how they are, just forming that connection, because there's a lot of disconnection right now. So we want to, yeah, you can brighten someone's day in the simplest ways, and therefore brighten the whole world around you. So ask yourself every day, how can I highlight the best in myself? How can I highlight the best in another, in my environment around me? So that's a big question to ask this year. Make conscious choices to change the trajectory of humanity, okay? It's time to step up, make big choices based on your highest values, rather than falling into desire for destruction, or falling into the endurism of suffering. So I want to leave you with 4 steps to transform the suffering that you may have been enduring. So step number 1 is accept what is. Just accept it. Number 2, use what is to define what is wanted. So you've accepted what is. Okay, there's that, but what do you want? If you could wave a magic wand, you know, what could come about from that? Step number 3, see with your words, your thoughts, your actions. What can you do to take steps in the direction of what you do desire, what you do want? And step 4, when there's nothing left to do, or when you confront resistance, it's time to release the resistance. Just intend to do so. Just let it go. So remember the universal law, as above, so below, as below, so above. We also influence the heavens with our prayers and what we choose to focus on. As within, so without, and as with the universe, so with the soul. And yeah, have a happy new year.